Yeah, real quick. And the important part is that you catch him before it becomes an issue. Yeah, you want to get on him after the warm-up, and you say, you know, I know that he's going to quit on me. I know that he has a tendency to be a little bit behind me, and you anticipate this. Yeah, and you keep him sharp. And this doesn't have to happen just in the trot, just in the canter. You can test this in the walk half passes. Yeah, you test both things, and especially when he has a tendency to make you a little tired. There's a lot of things that you can do in walk to create a mindset from your horse. Yeah, in the warm-up, you're not just warming up his muscles. You're getting the horse's attention. Yeah, it's so important that they say, okay, this is not just going to be another one of those sessions where we just repeat the movements. Today, you tell them we're going to learn something. Yeah, every day, even if it's a little bit of a difference in the walk half pass, that's a huge achievement. Yeah, then you take that into the trot, into the canter, and the bottom line is that you have a certain standard each day. Yeah, that you feel when he's a little bit behind you, that you say, you know what, we're going to make a drastic difference at that moment, and we're not just going to send him forward in that particular gait. We're going to go to the next gait. Yeah, good. Yeah, I like what you did with him. He's a cool horse. I like him. Very good. Okay, we have a little more time?
We do, and we could, you could work with what we have, or you could look a little bit at the tempi changes. We haven't done 4s or 3s.
Okay. Great.
The next group, we've got 2s and 1s probably. So we should talk a little bit about that. Just judging methodology. If all the changes are clean, and that means the count is clean as well as the change, and they're downhill and maybe a little crooked, it's a 6. If they're uphill, it's a 7. If it's uphill and gaining ground with expression, then you get into the 8 and 9 range. 1 mistake is a 5, 2 mistakes is a 4, a train wreck is a 3 or a 2. It used to be, we talked a little bit about collection as collection back in the old days, and it used to be back in the old days too that 1 mistake is a 4. And we talked about, well, gee, the scores are so much higher now. Why? Is it because we're all more brilliant? And, well, of course, we're a lot more brilliant, but we're also, the judging methodologies changed a little bit. We don't, Eric Letta changed that, which I think is great, that it's no longer 1 mistake is a 4. So we have to take into account what happened before the mistake, what happened after the mistake. So there's really no automatic scores anymore. So, you know, if you're riding and you're showing, don't give up if you make a mistake, because all is not lost, okay? Important to know where one movement starts and where one movement ends. So if you do make a mistake, you don't carry it into the next movement. You try to contain it in the 1 score. So that being said, this horse, as I recall, had beautiful uphill expressive changes, but so maybe, Micah, if you ride 1 row of 4s, again, try to center the changes. A lot of times if a horse has a smaller, maybe we talked about my little quarter horse, Joe Doc Leo Bob, he can do all the changes between the quarter lines. Or I could start early and finish at X. Neither is good. But if I have a choice, I should try to center them over X. Yeah, so good choice there. She said horse isn't ready. All right, so the only thing I saw, they were clean and in the correct count, but the change from left to right in the middle was a little bit crooked. Okay, looks, he does a lot of good things, gains ground, but he gets a little bit sticky in that 1 change. If you have a horse that always is stiff or crooked or late behind one direction, then that's a training flaw and goes down into the submission score as well. If you have at the FEI levels a horse who can't do either pirouette, goes down into the submission score. If it's only a one-time thing in one set of changes, we don't punish you in the submission as well. So I would call that an assortment, a variety. All right, so do you want to work a little bit with her? You can do the changes or whatever, but do you all understand a little bit how we judge the changes and what different things? This horse never went downhill. He had a few straightness issues and he had a few times the count was wrong or he was a little behind your aids, but downhill wasn't his thing. Okay, we saw in the beginning that he was here and there swinging a little bit to the right. Yeah. Actually, the last diagonal, we had a mistake, but they were becoming straighter. Yeah? Same thing there. Well, we talked briefly about that in the half pass. The more we have to take our outside leg back, it's pretty logical, the haunches come in. Yeah? So if we can train our horses to do the changes with the leg fairly close to the girth, our chances are the changes are going to stay straighter. Yeah? With a lot of horses, you don't even have a choice, because if you take the legs too far back, they pop up the croup a little bit, they get a little overly sensitive. That's not so much his issue, because he needs to be more sensitive in the changes. Yeah? You agree? Yeah. Okay. All right. So again, make sure when you start the flying changes that there is enough of what I like to call a cruise control canter. Yeah? If you come on the diagonal, you have to take care of the straightness, the energy, the self-carriage. It's simply too much. Yeah? That's something that you need to establish more in between, especially on the short sides. Yeah? And, you know, and I'm not sure, but I don't think the judges have a problem with that if you ride them just a touch forward on the short side. I mean, you can blast down the short side, do a medium canter, but... Yeah, but absolutely. I mean, all of those, most judges have ridden and most judges appreciate what the rider's trying to do in that way, and sometimes we wish they would go forward, you know, and just, you're like, it's never going to happen because there's no energy. So yeah, the horse gets a little stuck. Yeah, and so before the diagonal, it's absolutely fine to go on the short side, refresh the canter a little bit. That doesn't have to be, again, a big medium canter, but it can be a moment, 2-3 strides, a little bit of a working canter. Yeah, establishing that energy that you want on the diagonal. And what I would encourage you to do when you start a few changes and you feel that he's behind you after the first and the second change, quit the changes, send him forward. Yeah? Ride a diagonal medium canter and really make it sink in that he has to think about that forward tendency. Okay? He does the changes, that's no problem. He's got very good mechanics in there, not a problem at all. But the question is, will he stay in front of you? Yeah?